Hello again. Welcome back to the Bird's Nest. Please like, comment, and subscribe for your NFL recaps, news, and gossip. For the first time, I finally got some gossip. That means that possibly, everything I say from this point forward will not be true. All a figment of my imagination. But it's gossip, and gossip is fun. So, after the silly news came out yesterday that Shedeur was able to decide not to go to Baltimore, however that came about, I told you guys I gotta listen to the vets. I got several vets that I listen to. I listen to their takes and I learn a lot from them. So I wanted to hear from some of them anyway, and find out how that happened. How does a 5th round pick get to say, thanks for your interest, but no thank you? I wanted to know. Because I thought, y'all been telling me that the Mannings were the only ones that were able to say, our guy is not going where y'all want him to go. He wants to go somewhere else, and they let him go there. That's what y'all said. Y'all said the Mannings were the only ones that ever did it. Come to find out, Shedeur did it in the 5th round. Now, I've been saying all along that Shedeur is not treated like a 5th round pick. To me, it's just more evidence that he dropped in the draft because of his attitude or whatever, conduct, whatever, and not because of skill, because they still treat him in a lot of ways like a 1st round pick. So I wanted to know how this came about, that Shedeur got to decide that he didn't want to play for the Ravens. And I have now listened to 2 veteran shows, and one of them barely got into it, just said, sure, that happens. If a drafted player finds out where he's going and he says to whomever that he doesn't want to go there, and the team finds out that he doesn't want to go there, however that happens, that, a lot of times they won't draft the person because they know he doesn't want to go there. That's all he said. He did not dig deeply into that at all. That was Asante. Then I move on to Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharp. Now, I don't value Shannon's opinions most of the time. He never knows what's going on. It's clear that he doesn't watch the games. Too many times he just doesn't know what's going on. So I don't really value what he says most of the time. But he goes off on these tangents sometimes, talking about his career, and you can get some nuggets from there. Well, but Ocho, I definitely value everything he says. He speaks with conviction. Well, funniest thing happened last night. And this is where I'm going to start jumping to all kinds of conclusions. Funny thing happened last night while, while they were filming. Ocho and Shannon were filming. Shedeur calls Ocho, guys, right in the middle of the broadcast. And Ocho announces it, which he shouldn't have. Same thing he did to Denzel Ward, putting it out there that he said Shedeur was him. You got to keep the secret. Excuse me. You got to keep the secret. And he blurted out, Shedeur's calling. The phone rang. Shedeur's calling. He picked it up. And Shedeur even asked him, he told Shedeur he was on the show. And Shedeur asked him, I think, now this is a guess, if we could hear him. And he said, no, I can hear you. They cannot hear you. I did say that you're on the phone. And then Ocho left and talked to Shedeur. Because he said, I didn't see that. And he left. So, here's where I jump to conclusions. I think that what he didn't see yet was the fact that Joe Burrow is about to be out for 3 months. I think that's why Shedeur was calling Ocho. Did you see that Burrow is out for the next 3 months? How can I get over there? I'm happy that he is advocating for himself, if that's the case. Now, again, this is gossip. Y'all remember, gossip is almost never accurate. But, yeah. I think that Shedeur called Chad, because Chad is a former Bengals legend. And maybe he could put in a good word for Shedeur at QB, at temporary, interim QB1 for the Bengals. I think an agent probably could have got him that job. I know that Shedeur is different. He is different. And he is headstrong. And from what they say, he acts like a linebacker instead of a quarterback. But I don't know, guys. He hasn't proven on the Browns that he's totally uncoachable. I don't know. They don't put out a lot of information. And neither does Shedeur, by the way. Even Shannon told Ocho when he went off to go talk to Shedeur to the side, asked him, does he want to come on the show? I think the pivot is the right place for him when he does it. Right now, he is not doing interviews, and I think that's for the best. It's for the best because, for sure, he'll say something that they will hold against him in a court of law. Just like the thing with the Baltimore Ravens, them releasing that information right before kickoff of the Baltimore versus Browns game. Nobody cares about the Browns. They've fallen further and further down. And just people are just going to lose interest in them. And I don't know if that's why they put that out at the time to make the game more interesting. You can't. I keep telling them, guys, they're not listening to me. You can't do any of that stuff with Shedeur on the bench. Don't nobody care what you do. You can't do all that stuff with him on the bench. Why would I be interested in watching? Because Shedeur is on the Browns, but the Ravens wanted him. He doesn't play. So it doesn't matter. None of it matters. So I don't know why they put that story out yesterday. The only thing I could think of is that they were trying to drum up interest in that Browns game. I don't know why. I know they want to disparage Shedeur. It could have been other more sinister reasons. Maybe, well, they already have successfully turned much of the Browns fan base against Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski did a wonderful job at that. He's not good at many things, but clearly he's good at that. So they think Shedeur can't play, sight unseen, based on that second game where he played with guys who are no longer in the league. And everybody's like, just like they all said, Joe Flacco should be QB1. He's the vet. He's a Super Bowl winning champ, bro. He won the Super Bowl 13 years ago. And couldn't even hold on to his job after that. So I think Shedeur is trying to get that job while Joe is out. And, of course, in his mind, he'll win it. Shedeur can do a lot of things on offense if his team buys in. They have to buy into his process. That was something I worried about with him coming to the league. In college, he had the authority, the respect to get his wide receivers, all of them, to work on their days off. Could he get these guys from, just think of the Browns, from a team that won 3 games last season to work on their day off? If they were capable of doing that when they had been doing that already, I don't know. But Shedeur would definitely request it, at least from the wide receivers. So if he goes to the Bengals, they have a horrible defense. Well, so did Colorado. Colorado had a bad defense, and they still do. He did so much on offense that he was able to turn that team around on the strength of him and the wide receivers alone. So I hope it works out for him, but I think it will work out much better for him if he had an agent. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because as of the time I left my office, they still had not announced who was replacing Joe Burrow. I did read that they're looking for, they keep saying a veteran, just like somebody else needed a veteran. Who'd they get? Kenny Pickett. The team Kenny Pickett went to. They needed a backup. But everybody starts throwing Shedeur's name out there. Shedeur's name he is the top pick right now for a quarterback if anybody needs one that's available. And so his name always gets thrown around. So they shut that thing down quick. No. We need a veteran. They came back. The Bengals said the same thing. They're looking for a veteran. It seems like they say that just to be sure that y'all know it ain't going to be Shedeur. Because all the other quarterbacks, first of all, ain't none of them good. None of them. I don't even think Jackson Dart is going to be all that. But we'll see. I don't like to write people off without seeing them. I don't think that he's going to be great. I don't think that Dylan's going to be great. So, if Shedeur's working on it, if Ocho's working on it with him, I'm happy about that. But getting back to the deal with Baltimore, the media accosted him. At least one journalist accosted him after that story came out and asked Shedeur, did it happen? Shedeur told him, I'm not concentrating on the past. I don't even think about the past. The past has nothing to do with what's going on right now. It's useless to me. He said that many times before. So he didn't answer the question. Yes, no, nothing. He didn't answer. And then so the guy kept pushing. But did it happen? Charles Shedeur said, I don't know. I know you ain't going to believe it, but I don't be remembering stuff that far back. He did not answer. So I'm very happy that he did that. You can assume what you want from that. To me, a lot of people are like, you will have stability on the Ravens. Stability to do what exactly? Now, I done told y'all 50-11 times. I'm tired of saying it. QB1 gets all the reps. QB1 gets all the reps. When a team has a QB1, he gets all the reps. All of them. During the season. Some of them, in like preseason, training camp, they get some. But if you got a QB1, even then, they're taking all the reps with the ones. You backup guy, you can work with the twos. That's it. That's what Shedeur would get working with Lamar Jackson. No reps. He would be a lifelong backup because he would never get to show off anything unless Lamar gets injured. That's what he would have to hope for. That Lamar would get injured and he would get in the game with the ones and prove himself so that he can get picked up by another team. That's all he could hope for. So, no, a guy like Shedeur that is so confident and so cocky that he would blow his chances of even getting in the NFL because of his attitude. No, he's not going to be nobody's backup. Now, I don't know, y'all. I know you needed a story and you desperately want to talk about Shedeur. I understand. He's so special. That's why we love him, guys. And you love him, too. Y'all love talking about Shedeur. So now you got something. You can talk about him. For whatever that's worth. But I love that he's not giving them anything extra. Nothing. So I'll wait until he gets to be QB1 and balls out a few weeks for him to do interviews. Now is not the time for him to be doing interviews so he can say something that they can use against him in a court of law. Because that's all they're going to do. So that's my gossip for today. I think Shedeur is aiming for that job, honey. And I hope he gets it. I love that nobody's been named. Joe Burrow is him. For sure. He is him. But he's injury prone. I've talked to y'all about getting that injury prone label back when Shedeur, first he had the sore shoulder. And then he had the oblique. I said, no, you don't, Neff. If you got little injuries like that, it's best to not even mention them. You don't want that injury-prone label. Well, Joe Burrow, from what I read today, has been injured every season of his career. He's injury-prone. Now, this one done got him out for 3 months. He made of glass. We know that Shadore's not made of glass. That boy done got sacked more than everybody in the history of the world in college. And he shook it off and he came out and kept balling. Oh, shoot. Oh, little obstacle course. Okay. Something that dropped off of somebody's truck. So he's not made of glass. He can get out there and play. The owners will have to get their foot off his neck. Because I am convinced the foot is still on the neck. And they don't want Shedeur to play. They don't want him to ball out. They know what's going to happen when he plays. They don't want it to happen. Not yet. They still want to punish him. That's why they putting out stories about him. Trying to make him look bad. But it's getting closer and closer because Joe Burrow out there, not Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco's looking terrible. And they're going to put Dylan in and he's going to look terrible. I'm sure that. If I was Stefanski, and I know he won't do it, he should put Shedeur out there first. But you're going to put Dylan out there, go ahead and do it. I got a feeling what's going to happen there. And then Shedeur will get to play unless the foot is still on the neck. And then you got to be, now you got to be blatant and bold with your collusion. Now you got to stand 10 toes down on that collusion because now it's crystal clear if he never plays. And Dylan gets out there and stinks up the place like Joe is doing. But I wish they would take the foot off the neck. I wish the owner of the Bengals would say, man, look, we want him. We want him at least for this next 3 months while Joe is out. We don't have another solution and there's nothing available to keep us in the running and make us worth watching. There's nothing out there right now at the QB position for them. It would have to be one of these backups that we see, like Huntley or, these backups that we don't know. It would have to be one of them. Would be nice for Huntley if he could go in there and win the job some kind of way. I don't know. He's a backup for a reason. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. That was some juicy gossip that I made up in my mind, that when Shedeur called Ocho during that taping yesterday of their podcast, it was about Joe Burrow. And Ocho had not seen yet that Joe is out for at least 3 months. Ooh, I hope he gets that job. Oh my God, is there anything he got to do to get that job? I would love for him to get that job. I just want to see Shedeur play every Sunday. Sack him if you got to sack him. Oh, if he's running backwards into the parking lot like he does when he gets flustered, that he will never admit. Oh, Asante is back. I have to watch that. I love watching Asante. He's normally honest. Oh, that was another thing. Ocho and Shannon did talk about Shedeur with Baltimore. Ocho said, I don't even believe it happened. I don't believe that happened. Shannon started going into how it could happen, but then he was like, let me keep my mouth shut. That's a secret. Because I firmly believe that if Shedeur wasn't who he was, he wouldn't be having the option to veto teams in the 5th round. So, obviously, that's a secret. The way that draft works, we don't need to know everything. And this was one of those things we didn't need to know. And the NFL knows that we shouldn't know. But they're going to put it out there about Shedeur like he the only one that ever did it. In the 5th round. Picking teams still. Everybody out there talking about the Raiders are so stable. Yes, they are. They are awesome, man. They have a quarterback. No one that has ever backed up Lamar Jackson has become anybody else's long-term QB1. No one. Including Joe Flacco, who had won the Super Bowl with his team, and he still kicked him out of the starting position. So no, Shedeur is not going to no ding-dang Baltimore Ravens to sit behind. And no matter how beneficial it could be to learn sitting there watching him, he could watch him on TV on Sunday. How about that? He don't need to be at the game on the bench watching Lamar Jackson. He certainly shouldn't be watching no Joe Flacco. Watch Joe's old. Okay, watch your Super Bowl season. Because Joe ain't been nothing since then. So, that's my gossip for today. I think that Shedeur is gunning for that job with Joe Burrow. And he has the opportunity to take that job from Joe Burrow. I know that sounds crazy because Joe Burrow is considered top 5. Okay, he's injury prone. He can't win. They don't win. I told y'all, good as he is, the Bengals always have a losing season. They're not a playoff team. Good as Joe is. Let's see if Shedeur can get them to the playoffs. And then Cleveland media sitting here talking about they don't want Dylan to go in just yet because you don't want to throw him out there against the, who is it this week? I forgot that quick. I forgot. It's somebody good. It's a playoff team. You don't want to throw him out there against him. Why not? Have you guys ever played football? You think you're supposed to be scared of some teams and not want to play because of certain teams? No, I can assure you that Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are chomping at the bit to get out there in this gauntlet. They would be more than happy to get out there in this gauntlet. They want to play. And if they don't want to play, then they don't even deserve to be in the league. I don't know what y'all talking about. But as I told you guys in the previous video, Joe Flacco will still be starting in Game 3. We'll see how long it goes on. I expect them to be 0-6, no matter who plays. Because before that 6th game, stretch is over, that's not even long enough for Shedeur to even get in. You got to give Dylan time to show what he has. You got to give him time to warm up to the league. So you can't just you could pull Flacco out after 2 games, and I think you should. But Dylan got to get 5 games. That's my opinion. You got to give him a chance to see what he has and see if he's your guy. Hey, I would love for it to be Shedeur. But you got somebody ahead of him, and you got to give him a shot too. So let's see how that goes. So hopefully that will happen soon. Joe can lose them one more game. I mean, you might as well put them in. Put those boys in. See what they got. As long as they don't get hurt, they're not cowards. They're going to be okay. Y'all be worried about them breaking them mentally. If you can be broken mentally by playing a good team, you don't belong in the NFL. Okay? You don't have to make up for it. So that's that. That's my gossip for today. My first time having some gossip. Yes, I made it up. I don't know. I only know that Shedeur was on the phone. I don't know what he was calling about, but I think it was Joe Burrow. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like. Hit that like for your girl. If the ad come up, push that bad boy down and just hit the like. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one. Mwah.